Hello. Good afternoon. No, not afternoon, Ellen. It's still the morning. And my computer's doing weird. Think I'm live? Yeah, I think I'm live. So it's almost noon here in the sunny Belgium today. Sun is shining. Always good. I just had a discovery call with a wonderful person. And it just inspired me to come live and talk about um, it's interesting for people who have faced misery, people who have done things or have behaved in certain ways in the past for which they feel a lot of shame. Because I was talking to this person in this call about my transition and my journey in self-development. And when we go into the self-development, a lot of us have a past in which we've made mistakes, and some of them you would consider to be shameful. And it could be big mistakes with big impacts, and it could be like little mistakes, but still feel a lot of shame. And I'm talking about alcoholism, talking about drug addiction or any sort of addiction. I'm talking about, um, you know, being so out of touch with who you are and being so out of alignment with who you are and what you want that you are so irritated and frustrated that you work yourself out on your children or on your partner, and you're like this little bomb that explodes once in a while, and you might even get into uh, aggressive behavior, like acts of aggression, or you might have a past in which you got into the wrong bunch of friends, or you got into gangs and you actually really physically hurt people, or you hurt people mentally or emotionally, or you abuse people. And there's a lot of stuff that lives in the past of people. And there's a lot of shame related to that. A lot of people carry a lot of shame around those things, around those mistakes, around these things happening in their past. And I remember me being in those trainings in that self-development, and I was one of those people. I mean, I have things in my past that weren't quite good, and that I was ashamed for mistakes that I made, and that I had a really hard time sharing and owning up to. But the thing is, when you start to own up to that, when you start to work on that, when you start to allow yourself to take that look at yourself, and that this takes a bit of ego pausing, because at a certain point of time you need to stand still and look back and go like, okay, what is this? What is going on? This is me. I'm not okay. This behavior, this thing that I've done, it's not okay. And I need to now hold myself accountable and do something. Take my responsibility, my ability to respond and change things. And so when you get up to that point and you start working through your issues and start to look at what's going on, why am I doing this behavior? Why did this happen? How did I get there? And you start improving yourself. There's still shame to work through. There's still shame that pops up, but it's really important throughout that journey to put that shame next to you. I think no one of us chooses our upbringing. No one of us chooses how we enter into this world and experiences that we have. And I truly believe that a lot of that has an impact on who you are, what your identity is, and what behaviors you get yourself into. I'm not saying that you're not responsible for making the mistakes, but a lot of it is based on, a past and beliefs and hurts and wounds that were inflicted in which you had no hand. But that doesn't mean that it's not your responsibility to stop yourself and to heal yourself and to overcome it. But when you're in that phase It's time to let go of the shame. It's time to actually, face that past and like make amends with it, like accept that that was a part of you and that now you're stepping out and now that you're healing. And I saw and I see in a lot of people who go through self-development, in that training that I've done so many years ago, but also in the work that I do with people today, I tell them, like, let go of the shame. You know, it is what it is. It happened, and now you're working on it. And people still have like this feeling like, I'm ashamed that I've done that. I don't want to show it. I don't want to tell people about it. Because it's a shameful thing. It's a bad thing. It's a mistake. But you know what? For a lot of people, their mistakes and their biggest, their biggest mistakes and the things that they've done wrong can, at some point in their future, become their biggest asset. And that takes a bit of a mind spin. But I remember in this training that I was in, there was this drug addict who had, moved out of the drug addiction and was working on improving himself and healing his wounds and like, becoming the bigger person again. And he was ashamed, very much ashamed about his drug addiction, didn't want to talk about it. And I remember this trainer saying, she was absolutely right, like, this is going to be your biggest asset. This is actually in the future, if you wanted to, it can now work for you as an asset because this person also wanted to help other people. And so she gave him a completely different perspective. Like, this has been something you have been ashamed about, but now you can take it. Now that you're overcoming, you can use that as an inspiration for other people who are right now where you were. And by hearing your story and hearing how you stepped up and what made you change and how you did it is going to be an inspiration for a lot of other people. And in that way, your mistake is now going to become something of a good thing right now, as you can inspire others to move out of that too. And he just started crying, like it was like his aha moment to realize, like, oh my God, I had never looked at it like that. I had never looked at it like that mistake that I'm so ashamed of. But now I'm working through it. I can actually, that story can become someone else's survival guide, can become someone else's inspiration. And this is something that we shouldn't forget. And it doesn't have to be. I mean, it doesn't have to be your case that you've work through mistakes and now you feel like you have to talk about it. Definitely not. But if your intention is to start helping people, it might be something you might want to consider, using your own mistakes and your own struggle and your own past, and use it as an inspiration for others. Because there's nothing more empowering to see someone who has the same issues and someone who overcame it and is now like, this bigger person. There's nothing more inspiring than that. So please keep in mind, if you're struggling right now and you have made mistakes and you're working through them, and you're feeling ashamed, please drop the shame as you work through yourself, and as you start to become a better person. It's okay to let the shame go. You've worked through it. There's nothing to be ashamed. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and you can start using it to inspire other people. I think in March I did Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, and there was this guy who stepped up, and he was a gang member for a very, very, very long time, and he had done probably some horrible things. I don't know the details, but you know what gang members do. They're not up to a lot of positive impact. And he at some point had his moment where he said no more, and he's now shifting out, and he's now actually stepping up, working on himself, and now his new vision and his new outlook for his life is to help young people who get trapped in these gangs and to get them out and to help them, on their way to a better life. Like, how amazing is that? So I find that truly amazing, and I have nothing more than a lot of respect for this guy, even though he might have hurt a lot of people in the past, which I don't, of course, not condone. It's nothing, it's nothing to approve. But I think it's incredible that he had his moment of change and is now actually using everything he learned and all his experience with those mistakes, and use it to inspire new young people to stay away from that. Use his story and his pain, sharing, opening up, vulnerable about that past in order to help other people not choose that same path and to get them out of there. So it's just an example of how your past and how your mistakes, depending on how you take them and you use them, you can actually turn them into something good in the future. So, yeah, I mean, shame is, we carry this shame because, we just want to be perfect. We just want people to reject us. We want people to think we're just like this perfect person who never did anything wrong, which would be like, you're not human. We all make mistakes. We all do shameful things. We all do nasty things. And I think there's a lot of strength, and not everyone agrees, but it's my view. I think there's a lot of strength in showing, talking about your mistakes, being vulnerable, showing the world, like, look, this has happened, this is life for a lot of people, and this is how we work through it. I think there's a lot of power in that, a lot of strength, and that it can inspire a lot of people to do the same. Because if everyone stays quiet about their mistakes and their past and their flaws, you're not. I mean, everyone's going to keep quiet. Everyone's going to keep hiding behind this mask of, oh, I'm perfect, oh, I'm good, I'm this good person. I mean, come on, that's not life. And remember, this is like the show that's been put up for our children. Like, we're all behind this mask. Nope, didn't do it. Nope, did not make any big mistakes. Nope, I didn't cheat. No, I didn't. No, that's not me. The perfect parents. Like, no, you're not. We make mistakes. We do shameful things. Yes, some of us get aggressive sometimes. I mean, work on it. Own it. Like, nothing's perfect. And we shouldn't, demonstrate and keep that up, especially not for children, not showing what the world is really like. Like, let's own up, let's embrace the flaws and the mistakes and do our best to work around them, and to, grow into a bigger us, a bigger version of us, and try to overcome some of that stuff, especially when it's very harmful to other people. But yeah, we should drop the shame. Shame is a lot to do with ego, our ego that doesn't want to let it show, and we want to keep on this big posture. That's not life. That's not life. And and that's my opinion, people who really show their strengths and their weaknesses and own them and be okay with it, for me, are the strongest people. Those truly are the strongest people, and those are the authentic people, the people you can connect with. But just someone who shows themselves as, oh, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong, and it's like nothing. There's like, I already immediately feel there's not a lot of authenticity in that. So I don't like that. For me, meeting a person that's behind that mask and only shows like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm strong, I'm like, there's no, how can you connect? It's like, who are you? I'm seeing like this polished version of you, but who are you really? You can't be all perfect. This doesn't exist. I want to know what goes wrong. I know where you run into the dirt. I want to know that. I want to know your success, but I also want to know where you fucked up. Because that's a real conversation. That's real connection. Let's be authentic about that. Let's not give this polished version that you feel is just a fake. So, now, drop the shame. If you have made mistakes, if you have a past filled with flaws, you're human. work through it, own it. And even though it was like a horrible mistake, if you've done something horrible, know that if you work through it, you come out on the other side, that past can become an asset for you and can become an asset to other people, because now you can role model and show them how you came out of it and how you got on the other side. So, well, just wanted to share, and wishing you a wonderful continuance of the day. Love you all. Bye bye.